Keeping his face hidden in the shadow of his cloak, he followed me through the maze of streets, till we turned into the alley where I had seen the flash of the dove's wings. I climbed the stairs, and then paused at the top to wait for him. At first, I wondered if he even saw the paintings of the vine fig tree around the door. His gaze was so intent on me. When he came to stand before me on the threshold, his face broke open into a huge smile. "I am the vine," he said. "You are the fig tree. And everyone neath the vine and fig tree shall live in peace and unafraid. And everyone neath the vine and fig tree shall live in peace and unafraid. And into ushers be their swords, nations shall they war no more. And into ushers be their swords, nations shall they war no more. My version of the preparation for the Passover feast, also known as the Last Supper, differs drastically from the one told by his official chroniclers. Well, try to imagine any of the evangelists saying, "We celebrated Passover in the upper room where the master's wife used to turn tricks." That is, when she wasn't finger painting pagan images on the walls. It just isn't plausible. I sensed their growing alarm as we mounted the steps to the painted doorway, the vine and the fig tree framing it, the dove flying over it, and cats lolling on either side. When we went in, I flung open the shutters to let in as much light as possible, and I watched my two friends stand and take in the scenes on the walls. Susanna trembled and wept. What do the pictures mean? "I don't know," I said again. "It's kind of a story. The story of Isis and Osiris, only it's not. It's his story, my story, our story, but I don't know what it means either. So what do we do?" I handed the decision over to them. Mary B. shrugged and gave me one of those "are so stupid" looks that made me feel much better. We start making preparations for the feast. "It'll be all right," Susanna reassured me, "but maybe we could bring in some hanging plants." "And," added Mary B., "we'll want to keep the lighting very low." When Jesus stepped into the room, all commotion ceased. The only sound you could hear in the upper room was Martha pouring water into basins for foot washing. It's hard to describe what I saw on Jesus' face. It wasn't an emotion I could name, more a sense that he was not only taking the images in, but also entering into them. As if they were not crude paintings, but another world that only needed his seeing in order to come to life. Jesus commanded. Ignoring Martha's protests, he took her towel and, stripping to his tunic, wrapped it around his waist. Motioning for everyone to sit on the couches and stools scattered about the room, he reached for a basin and went to work. At first, the men were too shocked to speak. What was the master thinking? Kneeling before them, doing the work of women and slaves. Peter, further down the line, grew increasingly agitated as Jesus got closer and closer to his own huge slabs, especially dirty and calloused because of his fallen arches. "Lord," Peter burst out when his turn came, "are you going to wash my feet?" "At the moment, you do not know what I am doing," said Jesus. "Later, you will understand." But Peter wasn't listening. Never, he declared, you shall never wash my feet. And he touched them under his body out of Jesus' reach. Oh, Peter, Peter, Jesus said with a mingled affection and exasperation he especially reserved for Peter. If I do not wash you, you can have no share with me. At last, Jesus came to Judas. I had been so intent on Jesus that I only noticed the others when he neared them. As soon as I glanced at Judas, I saw that something was horribly, fatally wrong. The air around him churned in turmoil. His face was pale, almost greenish. His fists opened and closed, and his breathing was uneven. Yes, said Judas as Jesus knelt before him with the pitcher and the basin. It is fitting that you should wash my feet. Wash all our feet. You, his voice broke, you, we have called Master, you. I have followed all these miles and months and years, trusting you to be our new Moses. You have become a slave in Egypt. Worse than the slaves in Egypt. They at least cried out, groaned under their oppression, while you choose it. You revel in it. Peace. Jesus' deep voice cut through Judas's high-pitched tirade. He reached for Judas's foot. No! Judas shook him off and stood up, knocking the basin over. No peace! I bring not peace, but a sword. Remember when you said that? Where is your sword? You let people believe you are the Messiah. But you do nothing to free the people. The others were on their feet now, ready for a brawl. Slowly, Jesus stood up. Peace. The sound of his voice resonated in the silence that fell. Then Judas walked toward the door, where he turned to face Jesus. I will follow you no longer, he said. You have betrayed your forefathers. You have betrayed your people. You have betrayed me. He disappeared through the door, and we heard him clattering down the steps. Judas! I ran out, catching sight of him as he fled down the alley. Come back! Let him go, Maeve. Jesus stood beside me. He must do what he must do. My beloved companions, and remember, Jesus said as we passed the unleavened bread and drank the first cup of wine, whenever you break bread together or share a cup of wine, I will be with you in your midst. Haven't we always feasted together? Hasn't there always been enough and more than enough? I tell you, whenever 2 or 3 gather together to share what they have, there I am. There is life. There is the kingdom of heaven. Remember me then. Why do we have to remember you? Peter burst out. Where are you going? Where I'm going now, you can't follow. Not yet. But you will in time. But how will we find you if we don't know where you're going? Thomas fretted. How will we know the way? I am the way, Jesus said quietly. And that's all he said, or that's all I remember. If the last party was indeed an evening of esoteric teaching, only those words remain with me. The words and how he looked at each of us in turn, letting us understand him in whatever way we could.